gum than 2. Carl Ray Harris had 30. SC was done, and Fresno State had beaten the Pac-10 opponent 7 straight times. On Thursday, it was BYU's turn. Arizona State came calling, but the Cougars had too much Reed and too much Larson. In the end, it was just plain too much. So it was on to the second round and a date with an old friend. We welcome you to Selland Arena in Fresno, California. Tonight, a second-round game in the National Invitational Tournament between the Fresno State Bulldogs and the visitors from Provo, Utah, the BYU Cougars. And hello, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins, once again with my partner, Larry Farmer. And Larry, I don't know how many times this has happened in NCAA history, but this is the 4th meeting between these two teams this year. No secrets.
There's no secrets. BYU, of course, winning 2 of the 3 games. You know, in the playoffs in the NBA, that's when you have a situation like this where you really get volumes of information on the other team. But if you're a coach, you want to make sure you just keep it simple.
One thing I can promise you, we are going to see 2 marquee players. Russell Larson for BYU, an outstanding player. Carl Ray Harris for Fresno State, who had 23 points in the first half the last time these two teams hooked up. As they go, so go their teams. Back to get started after this. In Fresno, we are just about set to go. Let's take a look then at the starting lineups, brought to you by Staples. First for BYU, Shane Knight, a key player. Fresno State wants to put a body on him. He can score when he doesn't have somebody on top of him. With Larson, the leading scorer, Kenneth Roberts, tough guy, playing in the middle. Robbie Reed and Randy Reed. The Reed brothers getting a start, and one of the reasons that Kurt Christensen, normally their starter, unlikely to play very much, if at all. Roger Reed in his 5th year here, what an enviable record. 20 games, 5 years in a row. Outstanding job at BYU. For Fresno State, Brian Santiago playing on a very tender ankle that he injured in pregame warm-ups in the first NIT game against USC. Gutsed it out and scored 11 points in that game. Carl Ray Harris, leading scorer for this team, something special. With Lee Mayberry, Seth Marshall, the number 2 scorer, and Travis Snell. Gary Colson, in his 4th year at Fresno, has turned this program around, Larry, brilliantly.
Hey, he really has. And, you know, talking to Gary, he talks about the future, but he is just so thrilled with how this basically a senior team has really risen to the occasion, and they finished this season on a very uptick and a strong note.
So we're set to go. As you look at Carl Ray Harris, you mentioned he had 23 points in the first half in the WAC tournament when these two teams hooked up. Well, that's the good news for Fresno State. The bad news, of course, is that BYU won the ballgame and won it big.
BYU went to a box-and-one zone defense in the second half. Whether that was a factor or not, we'll see, because if it was, we'll probably see it again today.
We are underway. Santiago controls the tip. The crowd very much a factor in this ballgame. It would behoove BYU to take them out of it early.
They play with some cases when you have the basketball, get a lot of touches, set some good screens. The crowd doesn't want to stay long on defense. They don't want to yell out.
Down low to Snell. Fresno State scores first.
In their last meeting, Barry, here where Fresno won the ball game, they really made an effort, an attempt to get the ball inside and to go after and attack the front line of BYU.
This place, Selland Arena, used to be devastating as a home court. And then after this team won the NIT in 1983, things dropped off a little bit. And a turnover. And now Gary Colson has it back, and it really peaked in the first game of this tournament against SC last week. Harris makes the first basket, and it's a 4-0 game.
Santiago makes a great defensive play and stripping the ball. Carl Ray Harris finishing with a nice move.
Randy Reed gets the block foul on Santiago.
And Santiago been able to cut off the angle, maybe slide back another half a step and really get that foot planted. I think he might have been able to draw body contact and perhaps pick up a charge, but really out of position.
Reed rolls it off the rim. See the numbers on Randy Reed. 1 out of 2.
Unique free throw shooting form by Randy Reed, shooting it basically right off the side of his face. But good rotation and good follow through. BYU in its own defense.
Gets inside, kicks out for Harris for a long three. Won't go. And a terrific effort by Marshall. Foul called. How about this place, Larry?
I was told by the athletic director, Gary Cunningham, an old friend, that this place was unbelievably loud. Believe me, I believe him now.
It's really nice to see that come back to Selland Arena.
Just a sea of red everywhere you look. The red sweater, the red shirt.
Well, they used to call the crowd here the Red Wave. They call them that for football, too. And generally speaking, they would have more people in red at the road games than the home team would. Harris off balance jumper won't go, but Santiago with another nice play.
It's this kind of hustle and play that will really keep this crowd involved in the ball game.
So Harris just 1 of 3 early on, but he is a natural shooter.
Fresno State in man-to-man defense.
Roberts draws a crowd. Still gets the steal. And credit Harris with doubling down on it.
In the defensive scheme, Fresno State is alert, and when they have short runs, to make that double team they're going. And the thing I liked about that is the players involved in the double team didn't reach in, but watched the ball, and when the ball was loosely handled, took advantage of it and made the steal.
BYU turned over 3 times at Fresno State with a couple of turnovers, too. Cooper's still looking for their first field goal.
And if you're Fresno State, you want to take advantage. Right now, you've got momentum on your side. You've had several opportunities. Nice high-low look there from Roberts, finding Larson on the inside. Now, BYU has a lot of different options in their man-to-man offense. And when they get into their entry, bottom line is they'll eventually be in motion and wind up in a high-low situation.
Snell faces up for 3. Gets it. Third leading scorer on this Bulldogs team, Travis Snell from Alberta, British Columbia. All the way to the basket. Harris can't get the finger roll.
Harris pleading his case with the referee. I thought he made a sensational move to hop step, get himself under control, and power to the basket, but just did not finish the play.
Got the block. And did they get Snell or did they get Marshall? They got Snell. Looked like a pretty good block.
Well, he reached in, and generally speaking, when you're in traffic and you go after the basketball, you've got to be sure that the ball is exposed. Otherwise, it's a pretty easy call for an official to make. Sometimes they listen for the sound. Of course, here you can't hear anything.
So Russell Larson at the free throw line. Larson averaging 20 points a game. 6'11", and he's got long arms. He is a guy who really plays over 7 feet.
But plays more comfortably facing the basket than he does playing underneath.
Very good shooter. You're absolutely right. Not quite as physical as you might expect for a guy his size. 15:58 remaining first half. 7-4.
Also of scouting. They take away your 1, 2, 3 options because they know what you've done. You played them 3 times before. And now in this situation, you've got to dig deeper in your offensive bag of tricks and go beyond that, which forces you to play with patience.
Larson again.
But if you're going to front the low post, you've got to pressure the basketball, and you've got to get help from the weak side. And the player that is fronting Larson has got to yell for help on the lob pass.
Larson with the interception. Mayberry just a little bit of an errant pass there. Larson keeps it alive nicely for Reed. They get it to Roberts, but Marshall steps in front and throws the ball away. Knight at the other end for the basket.
Marshall that time in a hurry to get the fast break started, pass the ball to a spot. Anytime there's defense around the player, you pass it to a man, not to a spot.
Marshall's posting up night with a size advantage. Snell for three. And Santiago, the rebound, going to get a foul on Santiago. Over the top of Reed. Second foul on Santiago.
Foul is called on number 25, Brian Santiago. That's his second, third team.
You try and teach your players defensively on rebounding to get the hands away from the torso, and if there's an attempt to box you out, don't get suckered into putting your hands down, because the natural instinct or the tendency is to push off and create some space to give you an advantage for the rebound.
Roberts, the lob, and a nice play by Harris, but Reed gets it back. BYU has simple philosophy, jam it inside.
And that was the first time that Fresno State really did a good job of pressuring the ball, so that's not an easy pass to make, and also coming over from the outside.
There's something you don't see too much, a set shot from the three by Santiago.
49% three-point shooter. Brian Santiago does not get good lift, but he has very good balance, and he's got very good form on his shot.
Reed for three. That is Robbie Reed. Just chock full of Reeds in this book. Roger Reed, of course, the coach, and his two sons, Randy and Robbie, both playing because of the absence, so far at least, of Kurt Christensen. Marshall sticks a three.
Seth Marshall closely guarded. That was not a clean look at the basket. Nailed a tough shot. It's good defense.
Trying to go low, overplayed nicely by Mayberry. Harris for three. And look out when he starts to get the hot hand.
Here you see the fast break. Carl Harris electing not to go to the basket. The Carl-Ray spotting up, sets his feet, really gets a nice rhythm up look at the basket, squares his shoulders, and buries the three-point shot from the outside. You know, it's interesting, Barry, when you talk about different philosophies and what you look for in a fast break, and the game has become such a specialized game now in college basketball that unless there's the absolute open opportunity for a layup, a lot of three-point shooters will elect to move to that open spot to look to take that shot whenever there's a numbers advantage.
Well, Harris makes it a four-point play, and that's another thing you don't see too often. Both teams shooting it very well from beyond the arc. 4 of 6 from three-point range for Fresno State, 1 of 2 for BYU. Christensen is in the ballgame now for BYU, and Roger Reed did not expect many minutes from him, so whatever he gets is a bonus.
And he might be coming in, you know, a la Willis Reed, to give his team an emotional lift. He's not 100%, but sometimes when you have a leader like a Christensen and he comes out and he gives you his all, it can affect the team.
It is a problem with the patella, that is the knee, underneath the kneecap for Christensen. Very painful injury. Harris again for three. And Reed with the rebound.
NBA three-point range. I think Harris looked as comfortable that far out as he had to play before.
Reed with the penetration and the finger roll for the basket. 6-point lead, Fresno State.
Reed has a deceptively quick first step, and he's very, very good at finding the seams in the defense and creating shot opportunities for himself.
Very good ball movement so far for Fresno State. Mayberry kicks it out for Marshall. I beg your pardon, it's Satterwhite. Devon Satterwhite.
Against both man and zone. Anytime you can have the ball go inside and then out, you have a very good chance of drawing the defense, kicking it outside, and freeing up your outside shooter.
Got a foul underneath, a grab on Coker. Fresno State feels that it has to be physical down low. It was not early in the ball game, and it was getting beaten down low.
So you got to use your quickness and make sure that you don't get locked in a battle that you're going to lose because of fouls, but use your quickness and try and beat the offensive players to spot.
11:04 remaining first half. Fresno State leads it by 8. It's 21-13.
Rallies to beat Gonzaga 66-64, so K-State moves on to get the winner of this one. Back to Barry and Larry. Guys?
Thank you very much, Mike. 21-13 ball game here. The winner, of course, will play Kansas State, and the question will be, where will that game be held? BYU feels if it wins, it would get a home game in Provo. Larson traveled before the shot. Fresno State would love to have another home game, but the problem is with this arena, it is only available midday on Saturday.
Sounds like a good time to have a ball game if you're Gary Cunningham and staff.
And Kansas State only drew 2,700 for its first round game. I'm not sure what they did tonight. They're trying to get Kemper Arena in Kansas City, where they say they have a lot of alums. So it's going to be interesting to see where this next game will be played. Harris open for three. Missed off the right side. Marshall with a rebound. One thing about missing that badly, get long rebounds. Behind the back, and they give the Coker for the basket.
Just how you draw it up with your interior passing. Travis Dale with a no-look wraparound pass.
Out of bounds, BYU.
That was good defensive rotation that time on the help side baseline by Fresno State. Big guy rotates over to stop the baseline drive. Guard rotates down to take away the baseline pass.
Down low, Larson over two Bulldogs.
Cannot allow Larson to set up that deep in the post. He's so long-armed, he's quick, gets the ball up high. It's almost impossible to play defense against him when he's allowed to catch the ball 5 feet in from the basket. Burger setting in that zone.
And Harris makes him pay. That's a three, they say. Harris has 9. He's got 9 points, and he really hasn't found his stroke yet.
Well, you can tell he's really not in a groove. He's made some shots when he's had a chance to really get his feet set and get a good look at it. He's missed some that when he's on a roll, he'll knock those down too.
Easy basket for Durant underneath.
Devin Satterwhite, number 22, cannot afford to gamble in the low post. If you're not 100% sure that you can deflect that ball when you're playing three-quarter post defense, you've got to jump to position when that ball's in play and then play defense between your man and the basket. So they're in the zone, and anytime a guy cuts through your area, regardless of size, you're responsible to make sure that he is not a passing possibility.
Harris, the leader, won't go. Roberts rebounds. And a grab foul from behind. A little bit too aggressive for Marshall.
Foul upon number 32, Seth Marshall of Fresno State. At his first, the 5th team foul against the Bulldogs.
Santiago back in the ball game. He's got 2 fouls.
Back in for Fresno State.
Shooting in the ball game. Pretty darn good, I'd say.
73%. And the board play has been very good. Both teams really hustling, getting after the loose ball as we speak.
Marshall forcing the tie-up, but the arrow points to BYU. Good hustle by Marshall. BYU doing what it does, and that is get the ball down low.
12 points in the paint coming at their strength, and again, if you're Fresno State, you know that's where BYU wants to take the ball, front to post, help from the help side, and pressure the passers so they don't get easy looks to the inside.
Greg Wilcox in the ball game now for BYU.
Defense should really help on this and collapse anytime it goes inside, but you really got to get up and pressure.
4 seconds, 3. Durant throws it up, won't go. Follow misses by Roberts, and Santiago runs it down. Well, they say he stepped on the line from an outside position. Pretty tough to see that, but it's got some good bulbs, I can tell you that. 7:50 remaining first half. Fresno State 26, BYU 17. Back to Fresno after this.
What's our commercial, Larry? When you want it all, it's all here at Dairy Queen. All kinds of burgers, hot dogs, chicken and fish sandwiches. Plus all kinds of soft serve and yogurt treats you can't get anywhere else. It's the one place to be when you want more than one thing to eat. Hot, eat, cool treat.
Dairy Queen treats you right.
Carmela's got superhuman smelling powers.
Tuna.
What?
Yeah, tuna for lunch.
She's
Leading BYU 26-17. Both teams shooting it very well. More NIT action tomorrow night here on ESPN. Quarterfinals, Xavier and Villanova get it on at 7:30 Eastern Time. Then after that at 9:30, it'll be Vanderbilt and Clemson. Clemson, of course, today announcing a new coach. We'll be talking about that at halftime. And next week, ESPN brings you the semifinals and the championship from Madison Square Garden. The NIT on ESPN.
Fresno State scoring 11 points off turnovers, and that's taking advantage of your defense. You know what the other guy's going to do? If you can step in, swipe the ball away, and score.
Larson missed the three, but Roberts gives him a second chance. Fresno State has done an excellent job on Roberts so far.
And you've got to pressure him. He likes the contact. Get out on him. Deny him the basketball. Nice pick.
Wilcox got hammered in. Shot by Harris. Made the basket.
Just a nice little back screen wrinkle there in their offense. Carl Ray getting in a position to deny, but got backdoored. There was a pick there, but really it was just great one-on-one move by an offensive player to free himself and get the easy backdoor.
Mayberry does not look to shoot the ball very much. Marshall down low. Marshall with 7 points. Balanced scoring so far.
Very aggressive and a strong move to the basket.
There's the lob in the basket by Roberts. That's his first basket.
Great play by Ken Roberts without the basketball. Really went up, timed it well, and powered the ball through the basket. The thing about BYU's offense, a lot of movement without the basketball. Not a good pass.
And a turnover, and BYU will have a chance to cut this 7-point lead.
You know, Barry, you mentioned Mayberry not being a real factor to score, but you still have to respect him when he gets the ball 15 feet from the basket, because he's one of the best passing big men, you know, in the WAC. So you've got to come out and at least put minimal pressure on him so he doesn't get real easy looks to pass the ball inside of the cutters.
Knight flashing for the ball. Wilcox, who has given Roger Reed some very good minutes, missed that shot, and a foul from behind on Durant.
Foul for number 25, Mark Durant. BYU, his first, third team foul against the Cougars.
That's, of course, BYU's strength is going to their big people, pounding it inside, and getting the high percentage shots.
So an excellent screen by Stell. Santiago drove his man into it perfectly. Marshall missed the layup. Mayberry gets it back and puts it in. First basket, in fact, the first shot for Mayberry. Does not look to shoot, as he mentioned. Durant goes by Mayberry. Count the basket.
Basketball number 25, Mark Durant. Number 21 of the Bulldogs. That's his first. Team foul against
Mark Durant at 6'7", lined up against 6'9". Mayweather, a lot quicker, really does a good job of reading the defense, realizing that he had an advantage quickness-wise. There was no help side that time on defense, drove to the basket and drew the foul.
So Mark Durant, as you see, a 74% free throw shooter at the line, converting the three-point play.
BYU's in his zone, but they will push up and pressure. Wilcox now in man-to-man, playing Carl Ray Harris all over the floor, so BYU has switched, and they've now gone to that box-and-one defense.
Which really worked very well the last time. Now, one of the things that Gary Colson would like to do with Harris in that situation is post him up. You and I were talking about that earlier.
You post him up and you put a shooter on that same side, so the defense has to play honestly out there, and you really create a one-on-one situation inside. Carl Ray Harris very strong. That's something that they do anyway out of their man-to-man.
So Stell to the free throw line. See what he's done against BYU this year. Stell has had a very effective game, in large part playing Roberts on the defensive end and contributing on the offensive end.
Fresno State back in man-to-man. You know, with the defense is switching as often as they are, as a coach, you tell your guards to pass and cut through, and if you're followed, you know it's man-to-man, and if they don't follow you, it's in a zone.
Knight in traffic gets it.
Basket by Shane Knight, number 44, BYU.
Nice move on the low post that time by Shane Knight.
Santiago open for a moment.
Bobby Reed really playing that.
What a nice look by Santiago to get the ball to Mayberry.
Again, Barry, you talked about Mayberry really not being an offensive player on the outside. You can be lulled to sleep, not guarding him.
Larson throws it away, and here come the Bulldogs. Chance for their biggest lead. Harris. And Durant the rebound and the foul. Might get Stell. I think it did get Stell.
You know, Mayberry gets free. Santiago really makes a good pass, but there's a defensive breakdown here in the zone. You've got to talk and be aware of where the perimeter outside shooters are. So you have a short run to them, but a complete breakdown there at the back of that BYU defense. Shane Knight, of course, being the one that gets in the highlight film because he's the nearest one to the ball, but a breakdown there on the weak side.
They call the foul on Stell. His second. And Durant will go to the free throw line. Durant with strong ties to BYU, and his brother Kevin, who played at BYU in 1978, 1983.
That ball was shot so short, Barrett. You might want to get credit if you're Mark Durant for an assist on that one. That was more of a pass than it was a shot.
Santiago missed the three, and suddenly three-point shooting has gone awry for Fresno State. 3 minutes, 48 seconds remaining in the first half. Fresno State 33, BYU 28. 3:48 remaining in the first half. Hey, tomorrow night, you might have an opportunity to see some hockey history on the deuce. It'll be Wayne Gretzky going for career goal 802. Tied right now with the great Gordie Howe. One more breaks it. The Canucks against the Kings. 10:30 Eastern Time tomorrow night on the deuce, ESPN 2.
Talk about second chance points. Fresno State has got 6, and they got 6 points early because I thought they really were patient in their offense. They didn't come down and cast up that quick three, which really gets your offense set and gives you a chance to get that offensive rebound.
Harris right now on the bench for Gary Colson. Satellite missed the long jumper. Shot selection has not been the best for Fresno State the last 2 trips.
You can always come back and get that three-point shot, but good ball movement is going to get you a cleaner look at the basket, perhaps even an inside shot.
Reed way outside, and Marshall gets the long rebound. Give it to center, right on the wing, won't go, follow, won't go. Offensive interference.
Offensive goal being out of bounds.
They're going to get Mayberry for that call, but what a beautiful fast break and a great decision. Behind the back by Carl Ray. What a nice speed to center White, and the ball is still in that cylinder. Lee Mayweather might have been better served to gather a position and just take it off the rim. Had that ball come off the rim, it was still hanging up there. It looked like it was going to come off.
Short rest for Carl Ray Harris. He is back now for Fresno State, so he needs some offensive punch. Knight gets it. That is his spot. You just did not let him spot up at the elbow. He's got 8 points.
Any defense you play, especially zone, you've got to know where those perimeter shooters are, and you've got to talk to make sure that you can get to them quickly. And Crusher reach outside shot.
Marshall missed the basket. BYU now conceded he could tie the game.
Fresno in a man-to-man playing soft.
Larson puts it on the floor, can't get it to go. Mayberry high for the rebound.
Little clear-out play that time. BYU ran for Marshall, got everyone overloaded to the left side and let him go one-on-one to the right.
Well, Mayberry does pull the trigger that time, but pulls it too hard.
That's not his shot, and really, it's not in an offensive flow, so when a shot like that goes up, it catches everybody in your team by surprise.
Knight, the rejection by Mayberry. Here come the Bulldogs. Harris. He can create.
And all that set up, Barry, with his physical strength.
Well, they got a meter here that they try to keep up around 100. Haven't quite hit 90 yet, but it sounds pretty loud to me. Knight misses the jumper, and Mayberry clears.
Mayberry followed up that poor shot by blocking a shot and snagging a rebound. If there's ever a case of getting it back at the other end, he's certainly done that the last 2 trips.
Crowd taking up an FSU chant.
Still in that box and one defense.
And Marshall 6 of 3. Marshall with 10. Reminder that coming up at halftime, Mike Tirico with the highlights of the first game, Tulane and Siena. Talk about Clemson's new coach and a conversation with Bobby Knight. And it'll be Fresno State's ball.
Russell Larson working without the basketball, drew a lot of contact down there on the baseline and really got bumped out of position. You want to bump cutters and really not give them a direct path to the basketball or to a low post position. When the pass was made, he was on the line. The official made a good call. Harris just beating the count with that 5 seconds.
And Harris threw up a long one. It wouldn't go. Still got 1 second. Got to pull the trigger and go back. And we have come to the end of the first half, and a big first half for the home team. BYU got it to within 3, and Fresno State stretched it out to 8 at the half. It's the Bulldogs 38 and the Cougars 30. Fresno State playing very well in a physical first half. Right now, let's take it back to the studio and Mike Tirico. Mike?
And good prowess from the perimeter for the Bulldogs as well. That's why they're up late in this WAC battle. 4th time these teams meeting this year. This is the final of the second round NIT games coming up at halftime. Highlights and scores of the other 3 games going on this evening. And as Barry mentioned, you'll hear from Bobby Knight. Conversation with Bino Cook. All that's coming up at halftime. Fresno State leading BYU by 8. Round 2 of the NIT continues on ESPN.
ESPN's exclusive coverage of college basketball is brought to you by Staples, the Office Superstore, and by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for a crisp, clean, classic taste.
Wins, the Cougars will host the game. If Fresno State wins, the matchup will be in Manhattan. Kansas State moving on to the quarterfinals. The first end of our doubleheader tonight on ESPN.
When you became head coach at Army, were you still in the Army?
Yeah, I became head coach in April, and I didn't get discharged until June 10th.
Okay. Did you like the atmosphere?
Yeah, because I was a civilian, and it was great. A civilian at the service academies, I can speak certainly at West Point, is never taken in. A civilian is always on the outside of things. They're military, and you're a civilian, and you're never able to forget that. But I tried to turn that to my advantage. I would argue with lieutenant colonels or colonels who weren't used to having anybody argue with them. You know, they might say, well, we can't do. I said, why the hell can't we do that? And I enjoyed that.
Vietnam was going on. The country became anti-military. A lot of people, not all the people, but many. Did you have any basketball players who saw action?
Yeah, I had a lot. Had a couple that were wounded, a couple wounded severely. I had several that were over there. Had a couple that were in Desert Storm. And some of my most treasured possessions are letters that I got from players. One, a kid named Mike Noonan, who was a forward observer for an artillery outfit in Vietnam, wrote me a letter while he's up observing enemy movements about how much having played basketball meant to him, and how it had enabled him to compete and do things that he had to do as an officer.
If you weren't a coach, what do you think you'd be? A history teacher somewhere? Math teacher?
You know, I've often wondered that. Maybe this is what I'm really suited to. I've had people ask me about coaching in the pros. I would not be a good pro coach. People have argued that with me. I said, how the hell can you argue with me? I mean, I know what I can do and what I can't do, and I would be a very, very mediocre professional coach.
You're not dropping back in to help out? Tommy, you're not keeping Wilt from getting the basketball.
You have a lot of friends who are afraid you're going to end up like Woody Hayes. One of those games on a Saturday night somewhere, and your enemies predict it. And your friends, and there are many, are concerned that you're going to end up that way. I mean, I'm just telling you. They stand around and say, darn it, you know, he's going to end up like Woody. Now, Woody, to me, is one of the greatest, one of those things. But they're afraid.
Well, Bino, let me simply answer that by saying that when I end up, my friends will really be pleased and my enemies will be greatly disappointed.
Listen, you get these things back here so people can see, and then I'd take all you television people and build an island for you. Put these writers in a cave under the island.
Bullfight critics, row on row, crowd the enormous plaza full, but there's only one man there who knows, and he's the one who fights the bull. No, they don't, unless it's one of my former players, unless it's Pete Newell. Nobody have I been closer to than Pete Newell, one of the 2 or 3 great coaches that we've ever had. If Pete Newell comes to practice, if Pete Newell calls me and he says, look, then I listen to that because he understands, he knows, he's around. But some guy that writes a critique or gives a critique on something that I've done or said without having any idea what has been involved certainly doesn't bother me. I can't be bothered with that kind of thing. Abraham Lincoln once said that when it comes time for me to lay down the reins of this administration and only one person is satisfied with what I've done and that person resides deep within me, then I'll be satisfied.
Bobby Knight satisfied the Indiana fans about advancing his team. Look at the other coaches along with Bob Knight who are in Miami for the Eastern Regional. Bobby, 14 Sweet 16s, 5 Final Fours. None of his other sideline compatriots this weekend have been to the Final Four. We'll see what
Guard for wood. It gives you advanced 4-way protection because wood needs more than an all-purpose water sealer.
Welcome back to Selland Arena here in Fresno, California, where the home team leads it by 8 at the half. And it's interesting, Larry, that BYU was never really in the ballgame. I don't want to say in the ballgame. They were close most of the half, but they never did manage to get in front of Fresno State.
Well, they never really got in sync. Early on, BYU went to their strength, which was getting the ball inside, and then they got out of hustle on the boards and turnovers.
Take a look at the numbers in the first half. Both teams actually shot it pretty well. The biggest number that jumps out, at least at me, is the points off turnovers. Fresno State had 9 steals in the first half, and that resulted in 22 points, and that's more than the difference in the ball game.
Well, if you're going to do the job defensively, you've got to make sure that you convert. Here you see the nice block coming over to help out was Mayberry, and then Harris does the rest. Just a tough, strong move to the basket, weaving his way in. Didn't get a clean look at the basket, but That's his strength, is using his strength, and he completes the play on the fast break.
So once again, the object for Fresno State will be to try to keep this crowd in the ball game. Object for Roger Reed and his BYU Cougars, take them out of it if you can. Fresno State, however, got out early in the ball game. BYU didn't make a basket for 3 minutes. And, of course, that allowed the crowd to really get into it. Crowd to a number on its feet here. 10,159 capacity here at Selland Arena, and I promise you 10,150 of them are wearing red.
A sea of red everywhere you look.
Turnover for BYU, or rather for BYU against Fresno State to start the second half.
Fresno playing a soft man-to-man, almost giving the look of his own defense, but really collapsing, taking away the inside.
Roberts missed it. He only had 2 in the first half. They did an excellent job defensively on Roberts. Harris with 11 first half points. Errant pass on 2 straight turnovers to start the second half of the Bulldogs.
Against a zone like that, you're a big man. If you think the defense is going to anticipate, Mayberry would have been better served to fake a pass, to influence the defense, and make a pass.
Reed with the penetration, missed the shot, however, and Marshall clears. Double dribble. They touched it with both hands. I think Marshall's complaining that he lost the ball and then recovered.
And that whole play really set up by the hustle of Robbie Reed, number 3. Watch Robbie Reed right here. He comes in and there's some contact by both players. Where the double dribble actually occurred was before, about 3 dribbles before, where the ball had gotten loose. And the referee saw it as a double dribble.
Reed sticks the 3. Reed had the first 3 of the ball game. Actually, his brother had it, and then they missed the next 5. They were only 1 of 6 beyond the arc in the first half, and they start out much better in the second half. Good look down low from Stillman. Mayberry threw up a brick. Here comes BYU. The ball was tipped, and Roberts converts it. Just like that, a 3-point game.
Reed got away with one right there. Fresno State now settle down. Move the ball. Play with some patience. Get a lot of touches on the basketball. Play a little bit more deliberate till you get the shot.
Harris missed the shot. And Knight with a rebound. Cougars once more can get within 1 or even tie. They've only been in this position 1 other time. Reed with the finger roll.
Randy Reed shoots that floater so very, very nicely. You know, when you set an all-time scoring record in high school, 2,191 points a game, you can't finish. Not all of those shots obviously were clean. Look at the basket. What a clean shot by Randy Reed.
And it is a 1-point game. Fresno State has not scored in the second half. Harris counted.
Foul on number 3, Robbie Reed. That's his first team foul.
Big basket by Carl Ray Harris here.
This is just all strength, and it comes with the lower body. The body contact down low forces Carl Ray Harris off balance. When you've got that kind of strength in your lower body, it allows you to stay in the air a lot longer than a person that doesn't. Change the angle of the ball, maintain your focus, and before you land, get that shot off and have an opportunity to complete the play. I couldn't stay in the air there. Come on, Barry. I jumped real quick but came down even quicker.
Harris converts the 3-point play. And it is back to a 4-point Fresno lead.
They got Mayberry on the inside, and there was a little back screen set there. Santiago was guarding Reed. Santiago has got to let Mayberry, there he comes. Santiago's got to let Mayberry know that there's a screen coming. That's really a blind screen, almost a back screen.
And the interception by Marshall on the inbound pass.
Sloppy pass in there. Got to take care of the basketball. Unforced error.
Santiago for 3. won't go. He gets it back again, tries to force it up and draws the foul. They got Reed.
Talk about strength, just brute strength. I want the basketball. I'm assuming this is Smith. I'm going to carve out a spot underneath the basket. And Seth Marshall, number 32, just got those meat hooks on the basketball and was not going to be denied the opportunity to score or shoot free throws.
See his line, not bad.
You know, he's very intimidating looking, and I know coaches that will teach in high school, especially nice guys, don't get traffic rebounds. He certainly just he was not a nice guy on that play inside.
Well, to play the game today, you got to have a little bit of mean in you. They say that about Carl Ray Harris, too, and they mean it in a very positive way.
I talked to Bob Hoffman, one of the assistant coaches at Fresno State, and he says, well, you know, Carl Ray is very emotional. He gets on his teammates, but in a positive way. He pumps them up and gets them ready to play.
They call Knight for a player control.
When I heard that whistle, I really thought they got Carl Ray Harris for slapping in on the shot. And there you see the play underneath the basket. There was definitely contact on the play. Defensive man, he's got a right to a position. Travis still standing there with his hands up. How wide this zone defense is now. The middle of the zone is wide open. That's when you want to move the ball around and get some cutters or look to drive.
So instead, they kick it out to Stell for three. And Robert Reed to the rebound. Reed, an excellent rebounder for his size. Larson missed it. Fall on it, though. Nice effort by Larson to stay with that miss.
Quick move to the basket. Realizing that he'd missed a shot. Larson was the first person to know what was coming off. Landed, rebounded, took it right back up and in.
Harris, the off-balance jumper. Harris was 16. And he's starting to get that feel.
Bringing real meaning to court and floor. But you're right, Barry. When you start seeing him make those kinds of shots where he's going down, really not getting the clean look at the basket, that can spell trouble. That can spell on a roll.
Randy Reed sticks the three. It is a two-point ball game.
The last ball game, Randy Reed had 19 points. He was 7 for 9 from the field against Fresno State. He's been a thorn in their side. They've got to locate him and defend him quickly.
There's Harris again, a little hard that time. And Reed runs it down once more. Reed doing a nice job on the defensive end. And it's Robbie Reed. Larson working on Stell. They kick out for Robbie.
That was good defense. Take away the baseline by Stell.
Reed, another three. That's the third three of the second half, and BYU has its first lead of the ball game.
The Reed and Reed three-point show, Barry. Downtown.
Harris around to Marshall for three, and he gets it.
How'd you like to be a big guy in this game, Barry?
Forget it. You're invisible.
You got to hold up a sign. I'm down here. I'm trying to get open. Pass me the ball.
With authority.
Mayberry, although passing the ball too long, did a good job of putting reverse spin on the ball so Santiago was able to run it down. He made a nice decision and found Harris on the trail.
When they talk about players who can create shots, Harris wrote the book.
You know, not exceptionally quick or clever, but just strong.
Roberts off the Knight air ball puts it in.
Very good move by Roberts. Really nothing that Mayberry could do on that shot except get his hands up and then hope for a miss and perhaps a rebound. line.
Harris again drew the foul. Boy, he gets up quick. Harris has that I'm going to take this game over look about it, doesn't he?
And you love that in a player that's willing to step up to that next level. And as long as he doesn't press or push or force the game to come to him, and he can get those opportunities in the flow, you really don't catch your teammates off guard, so you have a chance for the offensive rebound. You also don't get beat in transition. You have a chance to get back on a miss and play defense.
You know, I know it's a story you've been wanting to tell, too. You had a chance to talk a little bit with Carl Ray Harris today. He is really one of those college basketball success stories.
He really is. You know, he's majoring in telecommunications, and he redshirted last year. And I asked him before this ball game, I said, why did you redshirt? And he was, you know, very specific. He said, it was my own idea. No one forced me to redshirt. I wanted to do it because I wanted to focus and concentrate on my academics.
And he will graduate. And we'll take a break. And Harris has 19, and Fresno State has a 3-point lead. 12:49 remaining in the ball game, and the Bulldogs lead the Cougars 50-47. We'll be back with more from Fresno after this.
It's been our observation that people don't necessarily like the idea of getting older.
It's a gut be gone. Roy just loves his.
In which case, we have a suggestion.
Now make a wish, 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 wish.
A 175 horsepower fountain of youth. The 94 Isuzu Rodeo. Practically amazing. See your local Isuzu dealer to check out the Rodeo lease.
When it comes to your financial future, Fortis can help protect you and those you love. Fortis, a worldwide financial services company, $46 billion strong. A powerful choice for mutual funds, life and health insurance, employee benefits. A name you can trust around the world and right in your own backyard. Fortis, solid answers for a changing world.
Hey, Mom, I just got here. No, Super 8 isn't mad I'm late. I've got their VIP card. They'll hold my room and give me a 10% discount. What are you going to do for me?
With a VIP card, guarantee your room and save 10% at all Super 8s nationwide.
If every company in America switched to MCI, American business would save over $1 billion a year.
Fresno State Bulldogs lead the BYU Cougars before the home folk here. And right now you saw 10,000 signs saying, go Dogs. No dogs here. Opening night of baseball, Sunday, April 3rd, 8 o'clock Eastern time. It'll be the Cardinals and the Reds. Ozzie Smith and Larkin, of course, two of the great players you're going to see in that ball game. You're going to see a whole bunch of great players all year long here on ESPN. The first of 25 exclusive Sunday night baseball games. I love ESPN. Take a look at the shooting in the second half, and BYU lighting it up here.
Getting it in transition and pulling up and nailing those outside shots. You know, when you see that 58% and you realize where they've been getting those shots from, it's amazing, Barry.
Talk about Carl Ray Harris having that look of a man about to take a ball game over. He already has after a fashion. He's got 8 of the 12 second half points for Fresno State.
Fresno State again at man-to-man defense. Aggressive defense when it starts.
Roberts rejected by Mayberry, his third rejection of the ball game. Nice job. And time ran out. The ball never hit the rim.
Roger Reed arguing on that block shot. Mayberry did a very good job of getting position. Defensively, not slapping down and changed that shot.
Gary Colson, who's done a great job, not only here, Gary's done a great job everywhere he's been.
And you know you can attribute that to, obviously he's a very good X&O coach, but he's a good human being. You know, he works hard with his kids, he loves his kids, he runs a quality program. He's done that wherever he's gone.
And Reed again to the rebound. Bobby Reed a gang of rebounds in the second half. He's got 6 boards.
Guards getting rebounds like that, it really helps the big man. Now your big men, especially on long shots, can really focus on boxing out. because they know if they do their job, the guards are going to back them up and give them that second opportunity to be on the glass.
You know, we talk about Robbie Reed's rebounding ability. He is the #2 all-time high school rebounder in the state of Utah, behind Sean Bradley. It's really interesting. Robbie Reed's only 6'1", and he's showing it. He's got 6 in this ballgame.
Who said you had to be big to rebound, Barry?
There you are. I couldn't do it, I'll tell you that. 50-47, Fresno State by 3.
Is there such a thing as a lease?
Yes, he's got a senior class this time graduating, but next year looks pretty good.
Larry, it might be the best recruiting class I've had in 35 years. I mean, it's just, we had to do it. We had 6 seniors, and so sometimes you get your back against the wall, you just go out and say, hey, we've got to get some good players because they got to step right in and play immediately.
Well, that's what he's got coming in. He says the best recruiting class had in 35 years. I was talking to him a little bit this afternoon, and he reminded me that when he got fired at New Mexico, one of the worst firings, incidentally, in the history of college basketball, I might editorialize, he had coming in that year Luck Longley, Brian Williams, and Matt Otten.
That's quite a class. And, you know, of course, when you're a coach, there is no such thing as a good firing, Barry. So,
well, that's true. But he won 22 games and got fired.
You convinced me.
And after that, of course, Otten and Williams both went to Arizona, much to the joy of Lute Olson.
Then Anthony Pell, that 7-footer that he's got coming in from Villanova. Coach Colson is just tickled pink about him. He's a player, and Gary told me before the ball game it might be the best big man that he's ever had an opportunity to coach. So that's something for these fans here to really look forward to at Fresno State.
Meanwhile, a 3-point ball game here. It's been an excellent game.
Battle of wits.
Roberts from the baseline.
Roberts, number 31 of the Cougars.
Can't give Roberts that much time. Carl Ray Harris on the same side defensively has got to rotate down and at least bother that shot. You've got to collapse defensively when the ball goes inside, especially if you're going to play a softer brand of defense like Fresno State is currently playing. Boxing one again, defense.
Marshall missed the shot. Now we'll see what Carl Ray Harris can do. They've got he's got Wilcox on him, and then, of course, a zone on everybody else.
As long as you continue to work without the basketball, Carl Ray can still be a factor passing the basketball or run off some screens, try and free himself.
Roberts rejected by Mayberry, and a foul.
So they called Stell for the foul. Mayberry comes across the lane. They both get a piece of it, and I really don't see any contact down low. I thought both players had a very good angle to attack the ball and not draw contact on the body. That's what you want when you have a player on defense that's a good shot blocker, is gain angles, no body contact.
We talked about the families of players that have played at BYU. Of course, you got the 2 Reeds, Robbie and Randy Reed, the son of Roger Reed, the coach we mentioned earlier, the Mark Durant's brother Devin played at BYU. Well, Kenneth Roberts, the youngest of 6 kids in his family, had 2 brothers played at BYU. A couple of them played in the NBA, as a matter of fact. Glenn and Fred both played at BYU.
Had a chance to see Fred Roberts up close and personal, and really not the way UCLA wanted to see him. He and Danny Ainge putting on a clinic, beating us in the regionals by 20.
So here's the boxing one again. Wilcox will just shadow Harris.
You still got to play him one-on-one.
Might have overpassed that. Stell might have had an opportunity.
But you got to be comfortable with your looks, Barry. See, in a boxing one, as spread out as BYU's got to get in order to compensate for the outside shooting, if you can still get the ball to Harris, he can still drive, because as wide as that zone is, he can create for himself or he can create for a teammate. The idea in the boxing one...
Well, now, Garrett Colson's got a real argument here, because Richie Ballesteros blew his whistle. I don't think Richie meant to blow the whistle, but he did blow the whistle, and everybody stopped playing.
Everybody that was in an earshot of that whistle stopped playing, except for the 2 BYU players